So the topic I'm going to be covering today is in regards to hypertrophy versus hyperplasia. You'll be comparing and contrasting the two, and the question basically is do the muscles I have get bigger or do I grow new muscle? So the definition of hypertrophy is the enlargement of a muscle or tissue in the size of the cells within the body. In reference to musculoskeletal definition, it states that there's an increase in size of the skeletal muscles through the growth of cells. And there's also two factors to consider when you're discussing this. Hypertrophy can be broken down into sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which focuses more on the increased muscle glycogen storage within the cells, and also myofibril hypertrophy, which focuses more on the actual myofibril cells. So what is a myofibril? Just to get into that, it's actually the basic shape, basic unit of a muscle cell. It's that rod shape that you have. So if you want to think of it, muscles as like a giant sheath, and then in between these there's myofibrils. Those are like the smaller ropes portions which are enclosed in the actual muscle. These tubes are myocytes, and that's what's formed into that striated muscle. Additionally, what you have from these myocytes are chains of myofibrils. So to get into a little bit of the differences in the hypertrophy, myofibril hypertrophy is usually created through strength training. This is what you're going to see with your high intensity Olympic lifters and strength athletes. This provides your 80 to 90% of your 1 rep max. Sarcoplastic hypertrophy is more noted with endurance athletes. So when thinking of layman's terms, when you have someone that goes to the gym and they want to get bigger, what this is actually the colloquial term of basically providing blood flow to the area. You're getting pumped up in a sense. And what this is through those myofibril hypertrophies. The body is actually swelling because there's that increased blood flow to the area, which is affecting the muscle masses. And this is usually seen anywhere from 2 hours to about 7 days after strength training. It's due to the inflammatory response of muscles being recovered and from the damage of weightlifting. Long-term hypertrophy occurs after long-term changes, and that actually is the change in the muscle structure. Hyperplasia is a little different. Hyperplasia is more of an increase of the cells within an actual organ. So what you want to think of is hypertrophy is the actual cell changing size. It's getting bigger because it's being used more. Hyperplasia is more of there being one cell, and due through cell proliferation or division, those cells will grow, but they're the same size. They just separate into smaller versions of the same thing. So you still have an enlargement with hyperplasia, but it's more of a almost uncontrollable growth, kind of like a benign tumor. There's more of it, but still roughly the same size. So to break that down into a little bit more of a layman's terms, say you have a cell that has 4 different cells. They're all equal shapes, 4 little circles. With hypertrophy, these cells remain the same number, 4 in each, but the actual size grows. So instead of it being 4 different sized grapes, they go to 4 apple-sized. So they double in size. With hyperplasia, the organ will end up growing, the muscle grows, but that's due to there being an increase of those smaller grape size. So instead of having 4 grape-sized muscles, you have 8, and that's what the additional difference is. So in terms of strength training, you want to look for and kind of work more on the hypertrophic version of your muscles. Hyperplasia can affect more of a autoimmune or disease process within the body. That's usually how cancer grows, is those tumors are hyperplasic growth versus hypertrophic growth. So to get back to the question of do the muscles I have get bigger or do I grow a new muscle? Technically speaking, the answer is both. Your body, as it's recovering, will lay down new muscle fibers, but you're also going to grow in size. So it's going to be a controlled variable between the two. The size is going to increase, and your body's also going to hold the amount of sizes instead of it growing rapid, kind of like weeds in a garden. You're going to have control on both of them. So that's basically hypertrophy versus hyperplasia. And do the muscles get bigger or grow new muscle? And the answer is both. Thank you.